Hi, everyone. This is Allegra coming to you from the Virtual Center for Arts Leadership to talk about the CCPA Performing Social Justice Seed Grant. This is one of my favorite opportunities, but I believe not enough students know it exists. So hopefully today you'll learn more about what the grant opportunity is, how to apply, what benefits you gain from applying other than the funding itself, and what next steps are for you to get started. So first off, just a real quick overview. The Performing Social Justice Seed Grant is designed to give your project that enacts social justice through the arts funding. Each year through the Center for Arts Leadership, we give away up to $10,000 in project funding. The application is available online. We then review the application with a committee of CCPA faculty and staff. We'll talk about who those committee members are later. And throughout the process, we are here to give you support. A lot of you probably have never applied for a grant before. That's okay. Most people who are awarded funding have never applied for a grant. We want to make this a learning opportunity. So part of the design of this application process is for you to learn how to write an effective grant. We're here to help, so please use us. The grant has been around for 5 years. We're going to our 6th year and funded 12 projects. About 89% of those support underrepresented communities, focusing on access, focusing on visibility, focusing on representation, and working on a lot of the equity issues we see facing the arts. The projects range anywhere from podcasts to starting children's choirs, public performances of new works, creating ensembles. There's really a wide range. So hopefully you see an idea that speaks to you, or create one. The average size of the award is just under $3,000. We give away $10,000 each year, but we've given as little as $500 to $1,000. Sometimes they range closer to $4,000. And so the idea is to fund something that would significantly benefit you as you launch your idea. Current CCPA students can apply as long as you're in good standing and that you've completed one full semester of classes prior to applying. This is also available to alumni if you're one semester after graduation and if you've already started your idea. So if you've started a project and you're going to graduate next semester, you can apply for this funding as well. So let's look at who we funded last year. One of the incredible projects was by Carlos Gonzalez, who is master's in composition, and he created a work called Immigrant Math, which focused on really reflecting the lives and struggles of people who are immigrating to the United States, with the ultimate goal of humanizing immigrants and their experiences through real interviews, visuals, music. This is something that the CCPA Music Conservatory, the choir, is working on in collaboration with Carlos. He's been working with the Chicago Composers Orchestra. And the goal with social justice in mind is to really examine how the world around us, our religion, our government, impacts those people who are seeking a better life. We also funded Ivan Resendiz, who's finishing a bachelor's in guitar performance, classical guitar performance. And his project is the Latin American Classical Guitar Festival Chicago. And even though this project has been going on for a few years, they've actually never received a grant before. So they were operating in a little bit of a grassroots way. And so Ivan's goal is to incorporate, to build, and they provide really high quality performances with classical guitar, focusing on culture and heritage in one of Chicago's most vibrant neighborhoods, Pilsen. Ivan wrote a wonderful application. And then our third funded project for the year 2020 was Liel Andor. And her project, Tunes at Noon, even though it was put on hold with the pandemic, it has the goal of using musical expression to enrich Chicago's ongoing environmentally conscious architectural revolution. So thinking about our green spaces, thinking about music and the environment. And it's a really fascinating project. So we have the immigrant population focusing on art, telling those stories, focusing on creating access and connecting to culture in Pilsen, and then focusing on the environment and music and creating community through that. 3 really different projects. So when you submit your application, you'll share basic information and you'll share different aspects of the project that we need to know to see if it's a good fit for funding. And then we will offer you mentorship, assistance with space. So if you need to rent practice rooms, or if you want to use Gons Hall for a performance, we help facilitate that as part of your grant as well. We also give you visibility. You can use the Center for Arts Leadership blog. We hope to promote you on our YouTube, on our social media. We help you with marketing support, actually workshops on how to design and project manage. And then we also look for any future opportunities you might want to get funding. If you have another grant you're applying for, we're happy to review that. So just because you've submitted an application doesn't mean that the support stops there with the funding. This is really a goal of having ongoing support. And then you'll have a consultation with us too, one-on-one. We want to make sure, you have questions answered. Have you set up a separate bank account for your project? Little things that come up that can make a big difference. We want to give you that support right away initially when you get funding. And then marketing support. We have one of our incredible alums, Naomi Rose Herzog, who now is a design and marketing consultant. And she meets with each of our funded projects to talk about their mission, branding. What big struggles are you or fears do you have about the project's next steps? Understanding that some of our projects are a lot more underway than others. Some people are brand new to project design. And so Naomi will sit down with you. We'll have a consultation with everybody, and then she'll have individual sessions to help you talk about your individual goals. She's awesome. She's someone who's really lived a creative life as an artist and has a very big heart for social justice. So I think everyone will enjoy meeting her. Okay, the nitty gritty, how to apply, what the application is. Applications are due March 1st, 2021. So if you're reading this, listening to this over break, start to think about your idea. And then I encourage you to reach out in advance of the application deadline to get some feedback, to explore some of what you're thinking and how it might work. On the application itself, you'll need to provide some basic information about you, your ID, your degree, are you in good standing? Then you'll provide a project summary, a narrative, how you define social justice, and a timeline and a budget. So let's break down what each of those really means. So your abstract or your really basic summary. So an abstract is when you'll sit down and explain in a very tight way what you are trying to do and why. So we need to know all the major what it is, who does it serve, why does it matter in one paragraph. And this is important because you'll have to do this later in applications. And when you're pitching your project, you've heard of the elevator pitch. This is a little bit elongated elevator pitch for what you're doing. That's your abstract, and you'll start off with that. Then you'll get into the project narrative. And the project narrative goes into more detail. It can be up to 3 paragraphs long. So you've given us an overview. Now go into the specifics of how it will work, who you're working with, what exactly you'll be doing in a more detailed way. So it's an elaboration on what you've introduced to us in the abstract. You might be thinking, why do you ask us for both of these? Why not just the project narrative? Well, sometimes we need to, as people reviewing these applications, go back and look at the abstract to be like, oh yeah, that's what this was about, this was it. We're also seeing how well you have an understanding of how to explain things in a very concise way, in a longer way. You have to do that to funders, and this is part of the process of us helping you do that, but it's also for our reference. And then defining social justice. Roosevelt defined social justice in one way, but we want to know how you define social justice and how your project lives out that definition. This is a personal statement of what social justice means to you and why this project helps live that out. This is just 1 to 2 paragraphs long, but it's one of the most important because it tells us how you are performing social justice. That is the heart of why this grant exists. That's what we're hoping to do through this funding. And so that is really important for you to think about and to really tailor it to what this grant is about. And it can be broad. It doesn't have to be, you can approach it from the cultural lens, from an economic lens, a political lens, theological. There are a lot of ways to define social justice. We just want to hear what yours is. And then if you're working with potential partners, we want to know about that. If you say, I have a goal of creating a performance series in libraries on the West Side, great. Have you reached out to those libraries? Are they willing to work with you? If they are, and you have that documented um, confirmation, share that. This is a space for you to be really clear about who's excited to work with you in addition to who you want to work with. When we had a student who was creating a children's choir, he was working with the National Mexican Museum of Art. He actually attached confirmation from the director to say, I'm excited to work with this person on this project. We knew, wow, this project's already greenlit, they just need the funding. That makes your application stronger. You also need to talk about, if you're going to do something that requires audiences, which most of you will, we want to hear how you're going to market your work, your idea to that audience. How do we know that people are going to come? What effort are you going to take to include them, to engage them? This is where we need to start thinking about these details and hear how much you've thought of. And again, if this seems overwhelming, please ask for help. We're here to guide you through this and help you to think about the right questions and find the answers. Okay, with your timeline, we want to make sure that this project is going to be realistic. And the project can be anywhere from it's already started, it's in motion, to I'm thinking about this in the next year or two. But we want to see that everything is reasonable. And if it's not, to ask questions that might help you get to a more reasonable expectation for this project. And so it's thinking about pace, it's talking about next steps. And you need to think all about planning and rehearsal and recording or launch, all of these different aspects. That goes into your timeline. Budget. This one can be scary for some people. Sometimes we get asked the question, is this about a budget? Like, I'm asking funding for the recording portion of my project. Actually, we want to know all aspects of your budget. Are there personnel costs? Are you paying artists? Are you paying to commission works? Do you have to pay for software or recording equipment or rental fees or marketing costs? All of those things, your total budget, we want to see what you've thought about and what it will take to fund this project overall. So this is your overall budget. And then the committee will work to say, we know it would be significant to fund this portion or this aspect of the project, and that would really help them. So it allows us to think specifically about what level we might be able to fund and why that would matter. But we want to see overall, what are you going to require financially to make this a success? And then the other side of that is who's already supporting you. So if you have funders or you have people who are already, donating, even if it's, we're going to record this, but we got the recording engineer to throw it in for free, list all of that, be detailed. Okay, so the timeline for this, as we mentioned, applications are due March 1st. They do have to be in on March 1st by 11:59 p.m. If they are after that, I'm so sorry they are late. Make sure you get DocuSign loaded, ready to go before March 1st. And then we will review the applications, the various committee members, sometime in mid-March. Usually it's within a week or two of when the applications have been submitted, so all the committee members have the time to look over them thoroughly. We give notice of the awards within that month, so probably late March. And then we'll start to give you forms, if you get funding, to be processed in April. And that can take a little while. So if you do get funding, congratulations, and make sure you're on top of those forms. And then we'll give you the opportunity to work with Naomi and the committee on marketing and project design in May and June. So a little bit of space for that, but that's the overall timeline of what to expect with this process. Our committee members, here they are, they're wonderful. The chairs, we have two chairs, one, me, Allegra Montanari, Director of the Center for Arts Leadership, and David Kerr, who's Assistant Professor of Music History and Core Music Studies. We also have representation from music and theater through membership of Dan Healy, Kwang Hao Huang, Jane Lanier, Paul Wertico, Barbara Sahora. All of these people you can talk to before you submit, after you submit. They have signed on to this committee in order to help student projects. So I encourage you, if you have a relationship with any one of these faculty members, to reach out to them and say, I'm thinking about applying for Performing Social Justice Seed grant funding. I have this idea. Do you have time to talk? Or there's someone I can talk to. These are the people who can help you, and we encourage you to reach out to them beforehand. There's even a spot on the application that says, who have you talked to about this project? And that would be a time to say, oh, I talked to Dan Healy. Great. If you have further questions or you're looking for information you didn't see here, please reach out to either of the co-chairs of the Performing Social Justice Seed Grant Committee, either Professor David Kerr or at dkjar@roosevelt.edu, or me, Allegra Montanari, at amontanari@roosevelt.edu. We'd love to help you. We'll put the application link in the bio of this video. Check your email too, CCPA students, and you can always find information on the Center for Arts Leadership website. But I encourage you to reach out to us directly because we'd love to hear what your project is, what you're thinking, any bumps that you may find in the application, or if there's anything else we can help you with, we'd love to do that. I encourage you to apply if you have an idea that you think fits the mission of this grant. It is our goal to give away as much funding as possible. We can only do that if we have strong applications. So I encourage you to apply. Deadline is March 1st, 2021. And I look forward to reading your applications.